Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Unfortunately, we've yet again got to talk about the Warzone anti-cheat, the Ricochet system, because surprise, surprise, we haven't seen any distinct major updates in some time with it. They last talked about it prior to season 3 dropping with the return of Verdansk and everything. Some new things that they innovated at the launch of that season, they sort of recapped back in season 3 Reloaded. But they also mentioned a while back, way back at the start of the year, really, with their community update, that we'd see anti-cheat updates for season 2, season 3, and beyond. And season 4, of course, I would assume falls into that and beyond area, right? However, season 4, it's been messy to start, obviously, and part of that mess is the anti-cheat. Obviously, there's been significant issues with the servers and all sorts of other things going on in game, various different bugs and glitches, and at least for the starting bit of season 4, that stuff probably overshadowed and overwhelmed all the other things going on in game. But in the background, the entire time here, where you weren't getting insane server hitches or stutters or other game-breaking bugs, the cheating issue did not improve really at all, unfortunately, here in season 4. And there's a few different clips I want to look at here today as we talk more so about the greater cheating issue, because at this point, this video, this topic, the anti-cheat being broken and bad, is almost an evergreen type video that I can just schedule weeks out in advance when I know a new seasonal update's coming up. It seems like every single season almost right now, just giving a variance in time, whether it's 5 days into a season or 2 weeks into a season, the cheating issue is going to resurface and it's going to spike up. It seems there is a obvious ongoing battle between anti-cheats and cheaters, and this is not a Call of Duty exclusive issue. It just seems heightened in Call of Duty because the anti-cheat performs so poorly and this game is so large in the general space. But first up here, I want to look at this tweet in this video from the Tactical Brit, fellow creator, fantastic guy. Highly recommend you go and check out his channel. He makes some great videos. But he posted this a few days back saying, "I love Warzone. I also love Warzone. But Call of Duty, this is embarrassing." And I think that's an objective statement at this point. You think the name Call of Duty, you think one of the largest video games on the planet. They have millions and millions and millions of dollars, infinite funds basically, because they've got a money printing machine in their game that they drop every single year. And yet, the investment in the anti-cheat seems to have been bare minimum since the start. Truly is what it feels like in game. You have to be blunt with this, because how many years are we into Ricochet now and we're still talking about the same issues that we were talking about way back when it was first debuting? Heck, before it even launched, you were seeing similar cheating situations like what we're about to see here. It's unplayable. EU is unplayable. It's also pretty rough here in the US when we play. There's very consistent matches where we run into cheaters. It's every single game, and these are just the blatant ones, let alone the ones using walls, trying to be more discreet with it because they somehow think they're going to get better at the game by cheating. It's a loser mentality. If you cheat at video games, you are a dork. Ricochet is a PR stunt at best, which is certainly what it feels like at this point. A feeble anti-cheat at worst. One of the best battle royales around, completely unavailable to play, or it feels like a chore to play because you're constantly having to fight against a disadvantage, basically. You're fighting against someone who knows where you're at, who's not going to miss a bullet, and they don't get punished, it seems like, until it's way, way, way too late. And as I've stated for a long time, Ricochet being this reactionary of an anti-cheat, at its core is always going to lead to diminished gameplay. Either disable crossplay between PC and console entirely or get this under control. Nadeshot was being too nice. That's a little bit of foreshadowing for what's coming up here in a minute. This is 100% Operation Health territory. If you're unfamiliar, this was with Rainbow, and they basically halted doing a bunch of major updates on their game just to fix things and get the game in a playable state, which I think you can make an argument for. This is game-ending, end-of-life cycle software territory, and it needs to change. Now let's take a look at this roughly 2-minute clip here that Tactical Brit recorded spectating players in games. We talk a little bit more about the anti-cheat. Right away, you can tell this guy is weird. Now, he shows as a level 1. The problem is that you can't tell if he's truly a level 1. He's going to go through various different clips here, level 7. There's issues ongoing in game right now where, levels don't display correctly. This has been an issue since the first day that Black Ops 6 actually dropped. So you can end up dying to someone spectating. Like, how obvious is that? Their AI learning machine analyzed clips just like that and found there's obvious cheating going on, and yet this is ongoing and blatant as can be, and the system doesn't pick up on it, instantaneously at all. When you're getting an X amount of wallbang hit markers and shots back to back to back, should flag it pretty quick, you would think, right? But there's this level glitch going on where you can run into players that might look like they're cracked out. They have max camos, max loadouts, but it shows they're level 1. They might be a level 1 using a full unlock tool and cheats. They also might be a prestige master level 200 who actually put in the work. They could also be cheating for what it's worth, because they could very well get that high of a level or compromise an account and start cheating on it, right? Without being caught by the anti-cheat. But you have this misinformation in game stemming from the game itself with bugs and glitches, making it hard to distinguish if a player can be legitimate or not, just simply based off appearance. But then you can look at the gameplay here. He has clips from his own stream where a guy is walking upstairs, clearly aimbotting. He sends a report. You can only imagine how many other people are also sending reports. And sometimes it bugs out and says you can't submit a report, initially as well. And the problem with this is these clips are incredibly similar. And it happens to be on Verdansk yet again, dating back to Warzone 1. These clips happen to be incredibly similar to what we had going on back in Verdansk and Warzone 1, where there was no anti-cheat. And that's got to be one of the most embarrassing situations here, that we can have this conversation of all these clips and say, yep, that same thing was happening in Warzone 1. Except in Warzone 1, we didn't have an anti-cheat the entire time. It wasn't years in its making, years into being updated and improved. Now, like I said, this is an ongoing battle. No anti-cheat out there is going to stop 100% of cheaters. Doesn't matter how good it is. Cheat developers are going to update things, and they're going to, get around the newest anti-cheat updates. And then that anti-cheat's got to update again and get around the cheat developer updates. Call of Duty, though's reaction to this has been largely underwhelming, largely delayed in a lot of situations, and it leads to this conversation where if you point out a clip from Warzone 1 of a blatant cheater doing something insanely sus, and then a clip from this, you're gonna notice maybe the guy's using a different gun and the UI looks different. But it's the same type of cheating scenario. In fact, I'd venture as far to say that however many years later now we are into Ricochet Anti Cheat, what can you feel the most? It's not the actual anti-cheat stopping real cheaters and real hackers. It's the shadow ban system that came along with Ricochet, where innocent accounts get shadow bans. It doesn't seem to react fast enough to cheaters in these situations. It's not even the main element of the anti-cheat that most players recognize is actually in the game. And a lot of the time they recognize it because it's working against them. And that's an inherent issue. It's unacceptable at this point for the anti-cheat to perform this poorly and for there to be this little of communication. At some point, you have to abandon ship. You have to go to a different anti-cheat. You have to overhaul this entirely and say, well, we did it first. We had the groundwork for it. We thought it was going to work. It didn't work in execution. You got to admit sometimes you just didn't do good enough. And that's what the anti-cheat, that's what Ricochet feels like right now. Like I said, though, Tactical Brit was foreshadowing a little bit, mentioning this tweet from Nadeshot, who's been very vocal on this stuff. He posts these Twitter videos pretty frequently, which is also sad. He shouldn't have to do this as like a bi-weekly segment on his Twitter to talk about how bad the situation is with Ricochet and with cheating in COD. He posts this roughly 2-minute video. We'll go through, listen to what Nade's got to say as one of the largest voices in the COD community, sort of react to what he's got going on.
Call of Duty rant, so don't interrupt. Gentlemen,
that's me. Hi.
Call of Duty has never been worse.
It's a bold statement.
And I really, again, I do love this game. But oh my God, there was a hacker in almost every lobby we played today. 8 straight hours.
One, I commend him for continuing to fight through that for 8 hours, because about 2 hours in, I'd say, you know what? Maybe I just go watch a TV show or something, right? But you have, obviously, these are two individual accounts. That's hardly anything compared to the vast majority of people playing, but it's 2 accounts that have massive followings and are obviously plenty familiar with the game. Tactical Brit saying it's nearly every single lobby we're running into these issues. Nade here saying it's almost every single lobby for 8 hours that we can't trust the players that are taking us out in game.
I know that
that's
I'm beating a dead horse here. Repeat episode of
like I said, it's a greenlit segment.
TV show.
Evergreen segment.
Yeah, we might be idiots for still playing this game, but I'm not kidding. Hackers in 8 straight lobbies. 8 hours.
Insane.
Lobbies. There were 8 straight hours of lobbies that were hacked on. There we go. We finished it up. And the other thing, Season 4 launched.
It did launch.
Rank play comes a couple days later after all the server issues. If you were iridescent, you either got brought back down to bronze, or you went back down to diamond. On
top of the fact that you're also running into cheaters the entire time. So you get set back further, that sucks. And then you're trying to climb your way back up and you can't do it well enough or efficiently enough because you're constantly running into cheaters the whole time. Double whammy. It turns a video game for fun for a nice little competitive experience into a chore, which is completely backwards.
We're not resetting nothing. So, man, frustrated. Oh,
it's a good way to put it.
We really might. I mean, it's bad.
It's like I said, the worst part about this is that this is a frequent post. This is something you can repeatedly, cycle into the schedule every so often. Something has to change. How many more seasons of this are casual players going to put up with? Are creators going to put up with? The player base as a whole is frustrated, and we get very, very, very infrequent communication on it. Simply putting, out a tweet saying, hey, we're still looking into this, or we haven't forgotten, we're still doing this every so often, rather than being completely radio silent for, 5-6 weeks on end before the typical, hey, we've banned 40,000 accounts, and also there's nothing stopping those 40,000 accounts from just spawning back in with their cheats again on a new fresh account that takes 2 minutes to make. You need something more in between. You need an overhaul significantly to the Ricochet system, but at this point, it's genuinely pretty pathetic how bad Ricochet performs. And it's insanely frustrating from all perspectives here, whether you are a decent player, an average player having to witness this, a good player having your entire game shut down because of the cheating situation, where you stand no chance no matter what you do in ranked, in pubs, in multiplayer. It's everywhere. It is a plague, and Call of Duty's responses have been incredibly disappointing, despite the fact that, yes, they do anti-cheat updates, and they might fix things for days at a time or weeks at a time. Like the Season 3 anti-cheat update actually was one of the more prolonged periods where there weren't insane cheating problems, but they came back, and then we haven't seen much since. Something's got to give here. If you want to help, share this video around, get more eyes on it, ideally have a chance to have that positive impact on the game, do me a favor, drop a like. Really does help grow the channel, and share the video around. And if you happen to be new here, you want to make sure you are up to date with everything going on in COD on a daily basis, like when we may ever see anti-cheat updates or anything else. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. But that is going to wrap things up for this one. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.